Obviously had a successful, I would say, trip to Florida, Clearwater. We had a really tough schedule, obviously opponent-wise, but I felt like it tested us in a lot of ways of kind of our timing of our schedule. So our first game was a little rough, but this is why you go on the road early in the season. We have a lot of young players, playing. Kind of get our feet wet. I thought we responded very nicely, had 2 big wins against Arizona and UCF. And then the final game, took care of our business against USF, and then we just didn't finish. We handed the game over to Nebraska. So just some things that we have to learn and kind of battle through a little bit and just play a little bit more clean defense and heads-up base running, I think, are the 2 things that kind of cost us against Nebraska. So excited for this weekend.
Coach, you already saw some great competition in Florida, but can you talk a little bit about the kind of the field you're going to see this?
Yeah, it's exciting, honestly. I mean, for us, I think traditionally A&M, we have played, just being blunt, a softer pre-conference schedule, and I feel like our players are really excited to go and play the best, competition. And we saw it this weekend, and then this weekend coming up, we have BYU, who just had 2 big wins against ASU and Oregon State, so they're going to be tough, and they usually win their conference and our postseason team, 31, at least program. And then we're going to play Oklahoma and UCLA, which I'm pretty comfortable, obviously, coming from where I came from, with seeing. So, for us, it's just a great opportunity for us to see kind of where we're at, what we need to work on, and how close or how far we are.
Have you played in this Mary Nutter Collegiate?
Yeah, pretty regularly, yeah. So I was asking our team, so Shaylee, I think she said about 3 years ago, A&M played in the Mary Nutter. So I think we might have played each other. I can't remember. But anyways, it's been a couple of years, but our freshmen and sophomores haven't played there. So it's a nice, hard field. And the outfield fences are a little crazy. There's some areas on the field where it's really short, the foul territory, and then there's some areas that it's a little Wrigley-ish, let's call it. So, yeah, a little different, but it'll be a great atmosphere. I think that's the other thing that's really important about last weekend and then this weekend, just the atmosphere. A lot of fans, a lot of, excitement in the air, and I think that just getting us prepared for conference.
So you said, and players kind of said, you expected to surprise people. I think you probably already did that at the tournament by getting those ranked wins. Do you notice anything different from your team this week coming back? Like they get more confidence because of that? Because like you said, you played a harder schedule. Have you noticed anything different about this week opposed to or not?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen them yet, so okay. Yeah. But I could tell you, like in the airport and even after that Nebraska game, I don't know, you can kind of feel their confidence a little bit of like, we're right there, like that we gave them that game. Now they took advantage of opportunities, but I think that they are starting to understand just being able to execute things and what that leads to. And for me, the Arizona game was the biggest growth we had this weekend because Kennedy, first of all, threw lights out, and we made some defensive miscues, and we, obviously became a 2-1 ball game with a runner at third base. We had 2 outs, and I think, in the years past, things didn't kind of go our way, and I felt like this year I went out there and I looked at Kennedy in the eyes. I'm like, you take this ball right now and you finish. And she did, and I don't know, I just saw like a step in the right direction with her and with our team, and I think, we just got to build on those instances, on those experiences.
Speaking to the pitching, just what did you take away from that group with Emily, as you mentioned, stepping up? Shaylee had
a great game, the UCF, yeah.
And then what we've seen Emily do, just being able to, I guess, have 3 viable options instead of just one horse that you can ride.
Yeah, and I thought Preston did well too, the USF game. And that's the thing, and we kind of talked about this pre-season, is just we have a lot of different looks and a lot of different options. And so Grace is still nursing an injury, so we're kind of being smart about how we use her or don't use her. So she's gotten some pinch hitting opportunities. We're just trying to limit some of the stuff, and she's feeling better every week. So she'll add a fifth dimension to us. But I think, Kennedy had closed a lot, and then I had her start. She threw a complete game. Shaylee did the same thing. I mean, she basically threw that full game after M kind of started off a little rough against Nebraska, and I thought she did a great job. And so I think Shaylee, what's been really dynamic about her is she's been able to throw her, like when she needs to throw her drop ball, she's throwing a drop ball. When she needs to be a rise ball pitcher, she's throwing her rise ball. So that's going to be difficult, but I don't know. I think they're gelling as a unit. They kind of understand how they work well with each other and who matches up, best and why, and what pitches we need to utilize if I come in after so and so, or if so and so comes after me. Like, they're starting to kind of understand it, and so I'm excited about that.
Can you touch on just the lineup in general? It seems like it's not just one or two people. It's 1 through 9. Anybody can step up in a big moment. I mean, Riley Valentine looked fantastic at the plate.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about just the approach and kind of what they're seeing up there, and just how well they're hitting off of these ranked opponents?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a sign of a really good team, though, right? Is maybe 1 through 3 have an off day, can 4 through 6 or 7, 8, 9 like. Rylan Wiggins had a great weekend. It didn't show up maybe necessarily, but she hit 2 balls. I don't know that she could hit them, square them up even harder, and they just didn't go her way, but she did a great job of turning over our lineup. That's what she's there. In my program, the number 9 hitter is very, very important. It's somebody that gets that top of the lineup going. It's got to have somebody that's got some speed, can make some things happen. She bunted. She had a phenomenal bunt in that Arizona game that really helped us, score some runs, but I don't know. I just think that as we play more, as these younger, players get more experience, I think you're going to start to see them get a little bit more comfortable and settle in. So I'm excited. I mean, Trinity Cannon, though, has been a beast. I just, don't mess her up, right? Trin, you just go in there. But I think the one thing that's really impressive about Trinity is she's had 2 really, I would say, very good weekends. And by weekends, I mean by making good decisions up to the plate, right? So, yes, you might get out here and there, but making good decisions, taking her walks when she needs to take her walks. Guess who's up wanting to watch film first thing? Trinity Cannon. That's what great players do. And so, I don't know. I just think I'm seeing a little itch in her, a little fire in her that's really exciting.
It seems like your infield's set. Do you think your outfield might get that way or not?
Cease, I don't know. I think we're going to have some movement. I think Star's going to get a little bit more action this weekend. She's had 2 weeks of really good practice and working hard in some ways. She had a really great at-bat, too. I think that was the USF game, was it? I can't remember. Errors. Yeah, I can't. They all kind of mesh together. I could tell you about BYU right now. So, but... Bree Warren is another option out there. I mean, I think that there's a lot of room. I think it's going to be who matches up offensively is going to be something that we take into consideration, but I don't feel like it's going to be super settled right away.
Are you guys preparing for this weekend playing Oklahoma, UCLA, BYU? I mean, obviously all strong lineups, but is there anything specific you guys are looking at? Whether it be, if they utilize the short game a little bit more, just different things like that.
Yeah, with BYU, today, we only get 1 day of practice because we travel. If anybody wants to be here at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, yeah. But BYU is going to do a couple things. They're going to do some button runs, hit and runs. They're going to try to scratch some runs across. And so we're going to definitely work on that this weekend. Oklahoma is going to swing for the fence. That's what they do. Same with UCLA. They have the one slapper, the Gooden kid in left field. But other than that, they're pretty much power. But I think that what we really try to do as a staff is we set up practice to simulate what they're going to see. We don't really talk a whole lot about it. We'll talk about it when we're going to be able to practice on those fields tomorrow, which will be nice. But really, we're just getting them, we're going to face the BYU pitcher, so we're going to set up our machines and make sure that they kind of simulate those types of pitchers. But honestly, we again just worry about ourselves and kind of our process, and we're going to hunt below our waist and get a good pitch. It's going to be who we are.
you a rankings person? You pay attention to
No,
rankings?
I didn't. Yeah. So funny story. I know I'm on camera, but funny story. So she's like a second mom to me. She texted me last night or yesterday. It doesn't matter. And she's like, "Congrats on your ranking." And I was like, "Nana, what are you talking about?" And she's like, "Oh, da da da." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't." And she just laughed. She's like, "Same Trisha, different year." And I'm like, "Yes." Like, obviously it's great. It's a compliment to, and it's, what we're progressing towards, right? We started off the year not ranked, but at the end of the day, like, I'm here to be a top 10 powerhouse program year in and year out. So we've got a ways to go, but I do like the way that we're progressing. And I think playing in these types of tournaments also gets eyes on us to kind of see where we're at. So I think that's important as well.